Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Charlie Fibrosis, and today we're going to run some laps around Michigan and just get some practice in. Well, I sort of go over kind of everything that has happened in the last little while and explain kind of what is going on with the channel and everything like that. So, let's kind of get into it. So, most recently, the most recent video that I put up was the February 20th anniversary event on race at Daytona with ISRL. Pretty much the way that it goes is that I was preparing for that event, did it, and then I just kind of hit a moment of I'm gonna take a break on this stuff. I can't remember the timeline 100% correctly, but essentially it was more along the lines of like, okay, we did this race, we actually finished incredibly well, we managed to complete all 200 laps. I did try and run other races. I even tried running a race actually right after that event finished up for IFAR, and probably only got like 10 to 15 laps in before I had junked the car. So it was the season finale. We weren't even in the hunt for the championship. Just figured I'd junk it and just move on. With Melon Car for the Cup Series and to an extent the Light Series, certain life events kind of got in the way of that. With Saturday being the Light Series and eventually the Light Series going defunct, Saturdays came to be time that I would spend with my girlfriend, and I felt to me that, you know, say spending time with her from 11 o'clock in the late morning till about 5-ish p.m., and then the time it takes to get home, to get settled, to maybe get something to eat, and then try to get ready to race just was not going to work out. And there were certain events that I would like to take her to or would do in general that, you know what, maybe we don't get done by 5 p.m. And I feel like it's a little limiting too. Like, I'm going to leave her, especially if we're in the middle of something, or put a lot of pressure on her, like, hey, we're gonna leave and do this, so I can go and do a sim race. And I just didn't feel that that was really all that fair. There was one instance where I was with her and also was spending time with family in the same general area. It was getting later and later, and I just decided, you know what, I will spend my time with them. I can miss out on the race, and I will just make it up at a later date. And I never really did. I don't really I don't really remember many of the races that I ran, for that matter. After, and then we're talking like this is maybe in February or so it was still pretty early on in the season. So to me, Saturdays was a day to be with my girlfriend, to be with my family, to go and do things that I wanted to enjoy and go about it that way. And then for the Cup Series, I just kind of felt that, in part because of the start time and everything like that, and also just not really being all that competitive, it wasn't really worth racing to me. If I had a case where I spun out and wrecked and someone else got involved in it and they had been running all the races when I'd only been running some, didn't want to take them out of the championship or so. Plus the Cup cars were much more difficult to drive because of how they handle and everything, and switching between two physics back-to-back nights was definitely a bit of a challenge. So add into the fact that for my week to start, I have to get up at about 5:30 in the morning every weekday. Even if the race finished up at like 10:30, the cool down from adrenaline and focus and staring at the screen to race and then my brain is cool enough to be able to go to sleep, be able to relax, and get enough sleep needed for work the week, work for the new week, was not easy. So eventually I just kind of cut out running sim races in general. Wanted more time to spend with my girlfriend, wanted more time to spend doing other things and relaxing. And that's the other thing too, especially during NASCAR season. Sometimes a certain race or two would end up going into that racing time. Sometimes they would extend out the time it would take for practice to begin. Other times, no, it's going to start at 7:30, and whether the cup race is going on or not, you guys got to come in if you want to race. And I just wanted to watch the race. So yeah, no hate on any of the adminship or anything like that. That is, all of these decisions were made personally by me, given my own circumstances. So, you know, if it works for others, but it doesn't work for me, that is okay. So yeah, I wanted to take a little bit of time to scale back, relax, and do some other things with my time. And with that being stated, just kind of took a sabbatical from NR. So, where does that lead with everything else content-wise? Well, back in May, when Tears of the Kingdom released, I started playing that on my own. And I was originally going to, after 1 month, just to try and avoid Nintendo with copyright claims or anything like that, I was going to try and figure out, hey, if I can get through this game pretty quickly, or if I can feel like I'm getting at it at a reasonable pace, hey, maybe I will go ahead and sit down and just do, I'll play the game for Twitch, for YouTube, for whatever else, and everyone can enjoy that. I could do that during the weekdays and the evenings, and no, none of that happened. The game is so big and so expansive, and for about 5 weeks was consuming a great deal of my own time. Yeah, that game is not going to be streamed as early as I thought. I would say that there's a good likelihood that I get around to it next year. Unfortunately, kind of after all the hype has died. I've actually taken a couple of weeks off of playing the game because it was taking so much of my free time, and there was just other things I was working with, so there's that. So yeah, with the combination of just time and factors and everything else like that, as well as some technical snafus, to, for example, like get the Switch working. I didn't realize this, but there was an error in how Windows had set things up. I managed to change it, but the problem was I could play a Switch game, and the stream could hear it, OBS could hear it. I couldn't though, and I didn't know why that was the case. Went ahead, got it fixed, and now it's working, so I'm more inclined to do more Switch gaming down the line. There's other videos I definitely want to cover. There's just not a lot of time, some more often than not, or my brain is focused on things, and with me, especially in video gaming, I like for things to be more fun and less of a job, because I already work a job and don't need all the additional time emotionally spent into it for no real gain. YouTube or content creation is not even anywhere close to being any type of a source of income. I make no money off of this, so yeah. Anyway, all that being said, I'm kind of debating it. I did put the logo on this car, but I think I can actually make it work going forward. Since Melon Car is not doing a junior series going forward, I will probably just run their series exclusively. Run it on Sunday, have a good time. That You know, that is pretty much my weekend of racing. That is the only race I will do, and I will enjoy it. I have partially considered retirement competitively. There's, but one way or another, unfortunately, with how the sim racing landscape is, a lot of people are moving away from NR 2003, understandably, and going over to iRacing. I don't really want to pay for iRacing. I don't really like the pricing system for a lot of things, and it feels like NR in terms of the time that you have to put in, but like 3-4 times more. And I don't have that level of time or focus or drive to be able to figure out how to take, like, if it's an open setup race, how to be able to balance my car perfectly and set things up, as well as having to adjust to strictly using cockpit cam. Sometimes it is hard to see what is around you. Sometimes the crew chief or spotter is a little flaky. Sometimes people just drive like complete idiots. And to me, at least, with the iRacing side of things, it is something that I really just do not have an interest in. I could pick it up for like 1 month, and I will probably play it for about 2 weeks, about total, and I will cancel my membership again and not touch it again for about 5-6 months. It's just a service that I do not use a lot, and it's a service that I don't really agree with fully. And all the other sim racing stuff, you've got R-Factor, R-Factor 2, Automobilista, Automobilista 2. You know, you've got a host of simulation video games that some areas are covered correctly, and some are very easy to do online racing, but they lapse in other areas. And then at the exact same time, there are other games where those elements that were lacking in one game are fixed in the other game, but they are not 100% correct. There is no true 100% perfect sim game. Now you guys also may be wondering, hey, what about that NASCAR Thunder 2003 career mode you were doing? Well, a combination of things happened. Shortly after I won the Daytona race, I did go and try and do Rockingham. In Rockingham, based off of previous performances, I felt, hey, maybe I can win this race. I should really be able to get a top 5 here. And for whatever reason, for whatever sense, logic, or some type of cursed deity that fell upon me, I could not drive Rockingham in this upgraded car with this sponsor package to save my life. And I wanted to try and lead the championship points for at least 2 weeks if I could. That is not going to happen. I took a long break from it. I want to go back to it. I would really like to. I have just not had the motivation or the time to be able to get it done. So, it is definitely, my save is still there. Don't worry, the career mode is not deleted off of my hard drive. That being said, I just need to find the time and the motivation to get back into it. I would like to. The summertime is unfortunately very busy with work, so I haven't had a lot of time to do that. So yeah, to also blend this into the previous talking point real quick, just with other racing games, it doesn't seem really easy to make paint schemes or so. Some of the materials or some of the methods that you need to go about for content creation, for creating paint schemes, is much more difficult than it is for NASCAR Racing 2003 season or NASCAR Thunder 2003, etc. Not to say that they are 100% easy. It took me about maybe 8 hours to make an IndyCar make a 1-to-1 recreation of Dale Jr.'s nationwide IndyCar. They drove for iRacing for the NR 2003 NASCAR Fun Facts IndyCar 2020 mod. Yet at the same time, it also takes a little bit to make a much more simpler scheme. So there's that. As one other talking point to speak about, 2 talking points actually. Number one, to everyone who has been asking, hey, are you going to release the templates for the NASCAR Thunder 2003 cars that you're doing? Are you going to send the bases? Are you going to send the cars? Are you going to host that? The answer to that question is no, no, and no. Let me make this abundantly clear. I am not the owner. I am not the creator. I am not the person who made the templates, who made the bases, or anything like that, right? NCRD 1331 is the owner of those designs. He was the one that gave them to me. He gave them to me in a private message on Reddit, and I don't have access to that link anymore. I can't find that link anymore. I have one copy of it saved on my computer. And until he either gives me the permission to host it, or he hosts it himself, I do not feel right sharing to a greater community works that I do not own, works that I did not create. I have no idea what process it took to be able to extract what is the game's car files and everything like that and turn it into a layered base. I do not feel right of sound mind and consciousness, me personally, on an ethical level, I do not feel comfortable hosting work that does not belong to me. I would rather have him be able to get the views and clicks and shares and everything like that than myself. And if he is not ready to release these items, if they were a beta that he essentially sent me, I want him to be able to feel free to be able to update it to whatever way he wishes it to. That's fine by me. I have no problems with that. And I am thankful alone. I am thankful on my own that he was kind enough to send it to me in the first place. I do not want to share that with others because I am not the creator of the content. And until I hear otherwise, I will continue to not share it. I need you to understand that. Please stop asking me. The other thing that is going on is someone had mentioned to me, hey, why don't you do a fight to the top with NASCAR NASCAR Racing 2003 season? And I will admit, I have actually considered this option a number of times. I considered doing, say, an IndyCar season. I considered then doing a Truck Series season. I considered doing a Xfinity Series season. I considered doing a Cup Series season. That being said, that is a lot of time. That is a lot of driving. That takes time and focus to figure out what the scheme is going to look like, what the sponsor is going to look like, what the number is going to look like, what car make I'm going to be even running. And I want to try and have it best integrate into the real life events as to what happened in actual NASCAR through these seasons. So, for me, I would think, okay, at the bare minimum, 2 years in the Truck Series, 2 years in the Xfinity Series, and then we just continue on with the Cup Series. The thing is all the planning it takes, and especially the focus to kind of try and make it all work. We're talking roughly, let's say, 30 Truck Series events per season. We're talking like 32 Xfinity Series per season, 36 races per Xfinity season, and then 36 points-paying Cup events per season. That's a lot, and I mean a lot of racing to do. Even at 25% for each of the race distances for the trucks alone, that is a lot of racing to do. And considering anything weird could happen, say that the game just randomly crashes. There's an asset in the game that's overpowered and accidentally causes the game to crash. Okay, I can't really go back and play that easily. I have to start from the beginning, and who knows what could happen then. In the career mode for Thunder 03, the good news is that, hey, if you wreck out, you only get to retire. You do not get to restart unless you, like, close out of the game and start over again. Or something along those lines. Like, it's a much more it's a more pinpoint accurate thing to do in order to make that restart and to try that race again. And then I have to throw away all the footage that I previously did because it no longer works, and everything else like that. I would love to do it. I really, really would. I just don't really have the time and the focus to do that. I want to try eventually, but there's other stuff like the Thunder 03 career mode that I feel that, in fairness, I should probably get to a completion on that first before I jump into essentially another career mode. Because what is going to happen is if I tackle too many career modes, I'm going to get burned out on all the career modes, and I'm just not going to do anything. So yeah, I mean, all of that being said, like, it is something that I would like to do. It is something that I would be okay with doing. The logistics of it is just the complex thing, and at least up until recently, with my job and everything like that, I was having to drive a little bit further and do different tasks, and by the time that I was getting home, especially during the winter time, it was generally getting to be about 5 o'clock sunsetting, and I don't want to do anything because the next stage of my brain is dinner and bed. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of games that, and that's kind of the other thing, and something I mentioned earlier was that I still want a game for the pleasure of it. It's part of the reason why I haven't forced myself to do a playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom. It's part of the reason why I've just tried to relax on gaming in general, to remember that, hey, this is not mandatory, this is your type of fun to relax, and you only have a certain amount of time for that. Given also other things in my life, just being more focused or having more of a drive on other things, just puts me in different areas and different directions. Do I want to do some of these projects? Absolutely. I just gotta find the time and the right motivation to be able to get them done, and that does not come at a cost towards something else. That there is always going to be a cost or time for what I am doing. So I am going to enjoy where I can, and I will do what I can. And if you guys do like the content, by all means, talk about it. Engage. I'm happy with engagement. I'm only one person. I do the recording, I do the audio, I do the editing, I do the main content creation and everything. I'm the one that's playing these games. But yeah, I'm a one-man crew with a full-time job. And to take on a second full-time job with the YouTube stuff is just something that is not in the cards for me. At least at this time. Could it be something down the line? Sure. But to me, I value a lot of time with friends and family, and that matters a lot to me. And there's only so much time in the world to be able to do all of these things, and there's not more time that you can gain no matter what you wish to. We have the limited time we have available, and that's this for me. So, alright guys, so thank you very much for watching. The very first Melancholia Season 4 race will be on July 2nd. We will be driving this car, which is going to be a little bit of a sneak preview. You guys will get to see the finalized car down the line, probably here in the next week or two. I am actually stepping away in the end of the month of June to go on a trip to visit a friend of mine. So I'll be away from home for about 4 days and enjoying that. Probably doing something on the 4th of July that is away from home. But all that being said, I do plan on having some type of content up and available. Most likely it is going to be the next Melancholia Lights race for the start of this season. And we will see how that goes, and we'll see how I feel. If I want to continue with Melancholia, do something different, or retire, or whatever the case is. But Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you then.